Let's just quickly try and get that sorted. So is he framing you properly? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, are we all ready? Are we ready, everyone, colleagues? Your newsroom, Adelaide. She's asking to just so that we can just frame you. Because we both have to be in one frame. Yeah. Okay. Before we go live. Yeah. Okay. Do you understand? No, keep it here. There's an arrangement here. Yeah. You ready, ne? Live, I need. Just okay, cool. SABC, are we ready? Are we ready, SABC? Great. That's D. SD. Are you ready? No? Okay.
Thank you.
How much longer do you need, newsroom?
10 seconds.
Okay, cool. Okay, colleagues, let's settle down in the meantime. Good. Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. Welcome to our second media briefing, following the initial one that we had last week, Thursday, to give an update on the payment of social grants. Greetings to everyone who's here and everyone who's also joining us at home. My name is Nongleba Mhlauli from the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. We are joined today by Minister Gungubele, who's the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. Ms. Zulu is currently in transit, but her team is here. We have the CEO of SASSA, Ms. Doti Memela, as well as the CEO of the Post Bank, Ms. Niki Bengashe. We also have the two DGs of the two departments and various other officials from both departments here today. So we'll ask Minister Gungubele to read the statement, which will provide an update on the payment of social grants, and then thereafter we'll then go into our Q&A. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thanks very much, Neba. Two CEOs, DGs, ladies and gentlemen from the media. As usual, we never tire to express our gratitude for the interest you show with regarding government developments so that through you we get the capacity to talk to our people about those, because they are the ones who are affected. As we said last week, we would come back and we'll continue to brief. We are back here today to actually again say, here is an opportunity to engage with yourselves as we update you about the developments. We will engage at the right time. Ms. Mhlaul will actually be conducting that. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the media, and all members of the public who are following this briefing from various platforms, thank you for joining us today. Before we start with the business of the day, Minister Zulu said, who is in transit, I must take the opportunity to inform you about the importance of today as we join the world in commemorating World Alzheimer's Day. On this Alzheimer's Day, we call upon all communities to familiarize themselves with this disease and to support families who may be affected by it and not to stigmatize anyone with this disease. Compatriots, the Department of Social Development and Communication and Digital Technology, along with their respective agencies, the South African Social Security Agency, which is normally referred to as SASSA, and the Post Bank, have collectively convened this meeting briefing to provide the public with the update regarding the recent challenges that some social grant beneficiaries had with their Post Bank accounts. The briefing will provide a further update to last week's joint media briefing by myself as the Minister of Communication, Digital Technology, and the Minister of Social Development, Ms. Lindiwe Zulu, together with CEOs of SASSA and Post Bank. Minister Zulu is currently in transit. We have agreed that I would continue with the briefing with the support of her department. At last week's briefing, we reported that Post Bank had resolved the intermittent system challenges that resulted in some of our social grants recipients not receiving their grants on time. Furthermore, we assured social grants beneficiaries and the nation at large that all outstanding reversals on the social grants accounts that were incorrectly debited would be corrected as soon as possible. Both teams from the Department of Social Development and Communications and Digital Technology, together with their agencies, have been meeting regularly to find a lasting solution to the technical challenges that ensued. Progress on payments. Today we are delighted to report that Post Bank has provided us with assurance that, according to their records, all SASSA grant beneficiaries whose accounts were adversely affected by the system challenges on the 5th and 6th of September have now been corrected. That applies to Post Bank clients. These funds are readily available in the accounts of these beneficiaries, and if not withdrawn, can be accessed through bank ATMs, retailers, and post office branches. We also would like to make beneficiaries aware that once their money is paid into their Post Bank account, they can access the money at any time convenient to them. We're making this point, ladies and gentlemen, because our people think that if they take their money once off, that is the solution, even if they are not going to use. All we are trying to reassure them is that even if you take 20 rand and take another 20 rand next week, your money remains safe. This is a normal bank account, and clients do not need to withdraw their money at all at once. Client can also use SASSA Cold Card to purchase goods at merchants. Noting that we will start with the October payment cycle in less than 2 weeks, we have started preparing to ensure that we do not encounter challenges that were experienced by our clients in this month. Our officials will continue engaging to ensure that we are ready to pay on time in the next month. The two departments and their agencies understand the regrettable strain that the grants payments challenges that we've experienced this month has caused in the most vulnerable of our society. That's why in this regard, we wish to reiterate our sincerest apologies to all social grants beneficiaries who have encountered difficulties accessing their social grants this month. Hijacking of this challenge for personal gain is another problem that concerns us. I must address the numerous accounts and statements circulating on various platforms, seemingly motivated by attempts to misrepresent the root cause of the post-bank challenges that affected social grants recipients' post-bank accounts this month. We want to place it on record that these stories are false and generally fabricated, with the damage they keep on causing. The root cause of post-bank systems challenges that affected the September social grants payment to some beneficiaries, which have now been resolved as of the 6th of September, relate to post-bank's migration to a new system. Post-bank systems upgrade program, of which the recent migration forms a component thereof, has been unfolding for a while in line with its 2022-23 as well as 2022-23 corporate plan, and it is also a South African Reserve Bank requirements as part of post-bank banking license application process. Special grants beneficiaries are also urged to ignore the false information that the September payments challenges are as a result of the expired SASSA card. The Reserve Bank has granted extension for the SASSA cards to continue to work until December 2023, so beneficiaries can continue to use these same cards. The department and their entities will regularly update SASSA beneficiaries on the details of the card replacement program. Post-Bank Board, we wish to assure social grants beneficiaries and the nation that the changes in the Post-Bank shall not have the changes in the Post-Bank Board shall not have an impact on any of our banking operation or the capacity of the Post-Bank. The Post-Bank is an oversight body appointed by the Minister as non-executive directors, so they are not involved with the executive level of decision or day-to-day operations of the institution. The Ministry has already commenced with the process of filling the vacant Post-Bank Board vacancies, and an advertisement for nomination has been issued. In the interim, and to ensure that decisions that reside with the delegation authority of the board are enabled, the Ministry has appointed Mr. Kylie Tungema as the Post-Bank Administrator until a new board is appointed, which will happen soon. On the communications drive, both Minister Zulu and I have seen the need for Post-Bank and SASSA to embark on more joint communication activities on the ground, targeting outlying areas, including via community radio stations. Both entities, together with DSD and the DCDT, will engage on several outreach programs to ensure that the people we serve are better equipped with credible information. SASSA and Post-Bank wish to reiterate that, as agencies of government, they remain available to attend to any inquiries by grant beneficiaries that relate to their social grant applications and payments. For administration queries related to social grants, clients can contact SASSA on 0800 60 10 11 or via email grant inquiries at sassa.gov.za. In other words, it's GRANTENQUIRIES at sassa.gov.za, small letters. For bank account queries related to SASSA Gold Card users, clients can contact Post-Bank on 0800 535455 or WhatsApp 073 806 1631. Email PB capital letter balancing switch at postbank.co.za. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are actively taking measures to prevent future challenges in our bank ecosystem, and in particular for our social grant account holders. Our commitment to the welfare and well-being of our social grants beneficiaries remain unwavering. We are investing in robust technology infrastructure, enhancing communication and collaboration amongst relevant agencies, and strengthening oversight mechanisms to ensure that uninterrupted flow of grant payments to those who depend on them the most. In closing, we recognize the invaluable role that social grants play in the lives of many South Africans, providing essential support and lifeline to countless families. Our commitment is resolute, and we will continue to work diligently to overcome challenges and enhance the reliability and efficiency of our banking system. Finally, on behalf of both departments and their state agencies, we wish to extend our sincere gratitude to stakeholders in the payment value chain for their support during the September payment challenges period. We further call upon members of our society not to use this challenge for cheap political or criminal gains. We repeat it again. Hubo nkgono kaofela batho ba heso re re go tshwarelo re tla leka ka matla ohle at all ka nako tsohle gore re be ntho tse ka tsela e tshwanetseng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues will now go to questions. We'll start with the colleagues from the media who are in the room. I've noted your hand. I can't see the gentleman in the Arsenal t-shirt. He'll be second. We'll take those two hands for now. Avue, you can proceed.
Thank you. Avue from ENCA. Minister, just wanted to check, are you visiting these places, your post banks essentially, or are you and checking what's happening on the ground, or are you relying on the word of post bank? Because you mentioned now that all has been resolved, but currently, if you check on ENCA, I have the app here, there are beneficiaries right now that are watching this briefing that haven't received their money. For example, Freddie Ford in Freyground, that's in the Western Cape. He only has been paid half of his money. That's 1,080 rand. And he was told that there were insufficient funds. He still hasn't received the bulk of his money. Christian Peterson, on the screen at ENCA, also hasn't received a single cent. From yesterday, he was told to come back on Friday. And if that is not resolved on Friday, to go back on Monday. So clearly, there are people that haven't received their monies as yet. If you come to Johannesburg, at the post office in Lenasia, where my colleague Shawning Tinkulu is currently, you'll find that they've been told that the beneficiaries that are going there to want their money, that they must come back. Well, they're told that essentially, so they're told that there's no money. So there are clearly beneficiaries that haven't received their money still on the ground. Are you doing the legwork yourself, Minister, or the different entities, or are you relying on post bank? Because contrary to what you say, it's evident on the ground that there are people, beneficiaries, that still haven't received their payments, if you are to check on ENCA currently.
Thank you, Avue. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Kaya Koko from Minister Lindiwe. My questions are directed to both the Post Bank and SASSA CEO. Firstly, to the Post Bank CEO, I just wanted to find out in your briefing to the Parliamentary Controller Committee this week, in your presentation, you mentioned that there was like a 89.5 million rand fraud that necessitated a switch in the payment system. It stands for the KPMG report that you spoke about. Is that report public? Because I can't seem to find that. If not, are you able to share details about the KPMG report that you spoke about in Parliament this week, and what the actual fraud entailed, and whether the switch to the new payment system will prevent future frauds from happening again? And then to the SASSA CEO, I just want to find out regarding Proclamation 78 of 2022 that was signed last year by President Cyril Ramaphosa on the Vietnam tender in the Eastern Cape. Whether that, I found out that that contract is still, that the proclamation is to investigate by the SIU. That contract, the union contract is still going on in the Eastern Cape, and I just wanted to know from the SASSA CEO whether she is aware of that while the investigation is going on, and whether SASSA had thought it prudent to suspend the contract pending the finalization of all investigations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaya. Vanessa, do you have questions online? Let's take 3. Please turn off your mic, Kaya. You press the button over there.
I'll try to be audible.
Okay.
This is a question from Mawanje at Sunday Road. The minister says we have started preparing to ensure that we do not encounter challenges that were experienced by our clients this money. Our officials will continue engaging to ensure that we are ready to pay on time with the next money. The question is, should the problems experienced this month persist next month, will the 2 affected ministers and CEOs of the Post Bank and SASSA resign from their positions? Carol Payton at News 24. Can Minister Gungubele please share the findings of the KPMG report, as this contract in question was put in place by a previous board, not just one, and extended by previous board? Why was this board targeted for removal? The last question from Senior People at Times Live. The question for the Post Bank CEO. Have there been more tests conducted in the recently upgraded branch payment system after experiencing glitches earlier this month? Thank you.
Can you just repeat who asked the second question with regards to the KPMG report?
It's Carol Payton.
Carol Payton.
The last question.
And can you just repeat the last question for the minister as well, please?
It's Sine Sipho from Times Live, the Post Bank CEO. Have there been more tests conducted in the recently upgraded branch payment system after experiencing glitches earlier this month? That's the last question.
All right. Has there been more tests conducted? Okay. Thank you very much, colleagues. So we'll start with the CEOs to answer the questions, and then we'll have the minister follow. I think we can start with the CEO of SASSA because she only had one question. Then we'll go to the CEO of the Post Bank.
Very good afternoon to everybody in the house. Molweni Makaya, Sanbonani Nonke Makaya. Kaya, I know that this is your favorite topic of the Eastern Cape fraud that happened 2-3 years ago. The investigation is still continuing with the SIU, so I can't give you any feedback. With regards to cancelling the contract, we came back and consulted with our legal department. The contract could not be cancelled because it was duly awarded. The issue raised was as to whether there was a fraudulent or a relationship between people that were in the procurement space and the provider. So for now, we're not in a position to cancel the contract, and it continues to exist. We'll keep you informed if there's any other new developments with regards to that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to the broader public, and thank you for the questions. So I'll start with the KPMG public. I just want to perhaps not correct, but just make a statement that the 90 million fraud case has been public even before I joined. Even I Googled all about it as I was researching for my first interview. So I just want to make that statement so that we know that that amount has been public since it happened. I even remember the interviews that took place with the former Postbank colleagues. Is the KPMG report public? I do not believe it is public as yet. I do not believe it is public. It is still within the Postbank, and we are managing it in terms of the recommendations by KPMG. The second question, has there been more tests that have happened since? Perhaps let's go back in terms of how testing, when you do any IT change. So you do testing before you do the change, which we did in this case. There's no more better testing when you go live. So perhaps that's the best way to answer that question. When you go live, it's a best testing that you'll ever find, even before testing on in a SIT environment. So I'm not sure of the question, perhaps. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe let's start with the KPMG report. Under normal circumstances, there isn't much secret about it. But because there is this concern and we have created a lot of curiosity about it, we will have DGs here, we will have to organize a special briefing on the KPMG report. And of course, we'll have to be properly legally advised. Where I'm sitting, there isn't much to hide. But because there's this repetitive call, who is who and so on. I said in the last meeting, you know how litigious South Africa is. So we need to be properly advised, but I think under normal circumstances, the public is owed that special briefing so that we close this thing, that there's nothing that is being created in as far as those facts are concerned. Maybe if we start with the RVU, I would have, let me put it this way, to respond to what I consider to be genuine questions. Minister Zulu has done some visit. I have arrived a night before last from the United States. I left here on Thursday after a press conference. I'm not going to say I'm going to visit or not visit. We've got a lot of our staff all over who have got a number of reasons to trust, by the way. But it remains important that as a minister, maybe find one opportunity or two to check for ourselves. So that point remains important, but it's not as if my colleague didn't do anything about it. But what are we responding to? We've got our technical people who are doing work. Because even when you go to the ground, you must know what you're going to check. You need to look at the records because our interface with our clients is in that system. We've got a new CEO who is hardly 8 weeks. Maybe I forgot to say, Avio, we're very proud of the work she has done in such a short space of time. I'm sure you are amazed. If I tell you, as she's been interacting with you, she's, as we speak today, she's hardly 8 weeks in this job. How she is stabilizing that institution is unbelievable. It will be remiss, and she's always available, by the way, whenever you guys want her. So the work she has done so far, everywhere, there isn't much basis for us to doubt and want to second hand here, unless there's an information contrary to that. Am I dismissing the importance of us going there on the ground? No. I accept that. That is one of doing those. But I wanted to say, We're not just trusting for the sake of trusting. Facts of the work she has already done demonstrate that she's worth our trust. Secondly, I would have thought of NCA would have given at least 50 names, or maybe 100, because NCA has been speaking about thousands of people being reported who are not attended to. I thought this would be an opportunity so that we table a document here that says 1,000 or 2,000. But we appreciate the 2 or 3 that you are giving us, because we take it positively. Anyone who queries the efficiencies of our intervention and do what you have done, we take it as a positive contributor, because you are giving us facts. So we're going to follow this. And actually, our team is going to clear it. But I repeat what I said. Having listened to NCA about this process, I thought you'd be saying at least 50, not 1,000, and give us that. Because it's very, very important to do that. Our people are hurting because of this issue. And the issue of payments of grant is happening in a number of channels in South Africa. So that's why we want to be clear. When it is post office that is affected, it must be when it is post bank. Because you also spoke about people who visited the post office. That's a different issue. We're dealing here with the post bank. Post office is also our responsibility. If there are issues there, there are people who are leading post office who must be able to respond on that. So it's important to separate fiction from what we call from facts. So it's very, very critical, because we are dealing with a sensitive matter of vulnerable people. Yeah. So, Mawande is asking if these problems occur the following week. Well, I want to say to Mawande, it will be for our employers to weigh the weight of our inefficiencies, and we will always subject ourselves to the will of our employers. But all what we are focused in is not whether we'll be fired or not fired, is to do the best we can to resolve this issue. So I thought that's the little I can respond to Mwande. Let's come to Carol. As a matter of fact, I think it is misplaced to say this thing happened before this board. That's why I insist, DG, that we need to find a legally advised way to do a press briefing on KPMG, because there's a lot of falsification that has got a risk of actually taking rounds. The board that is left is comprised in 2. The 3 who took more than, I think, is it more than a year, TG? 3 years. Before the others joined in October. Right? All these things happen under their, their leadership. The fact that the bank has got 3 years disclaimer to Carol happened under this board. Right? As a matter of fact, we'll demonstrate to you when we do that briefing. There are new people who, I know we've discussed this with the DG. You feel such people would not have been affected in one way or another because they came here around October. But the challenge is they stayed here for a year knowing this, right? So I don't want to go to the details of that because, again, of a litigious South Africa. So I'm just trying to give you an impression that, clear information that stop this thing happened, because we'll ask you which is the previous board you're talking about. You're not going to be telling. You're not going to tell us because such facts do not exist. With this board, this thing happened under the Of course, as individuals, it's always possible in an instance like this that amongst them, there could be innocent one who are affected, but there is a particular communication. I want to repeat this. Before we almost, because they preempted us, they left on a particular day, when it was clear, based on our communication and my displeasure in the manner they ran the institution, they anticipated and preempted us. during that period, there's a lot of correspondences that have taken place, right? We know sometimes how litigious these things are. So you keep those. If you are called upon, there's a dispute in court, you're able to table those court. So there's nothing untoward, there's nothing clandestine. I've never worked on clandestine issues when it comes to government. Our records are clear, that include Minister Zulu, my colleagues. So I want to reassure there is no previous board and the current board. And there's also an issue, colleagues. I've had 2 or 3 colleagues in public saying we are hurting professionals, right? I want to make a point on this. I'll always be one of the first, together with my colleague Minister Zulu, to protect professionals. You protect professionals when they are professional. The fact that you've got a tag of being a professional is not enough. You must always act in a manner consistent with that tag. So I'm not referring to any of the board members as I'm speaking like this. I'm making a general statement to those who say professionals are being attacked. What is left? I think I'm done. Yes, yeah.
Thank you very much, Minister, and to both CEOs. And Aviwe, if you could just please also just text us those details of the people that you mentioned, as the Minister said in the statement, as well as the CEO. Our records indicate that the matter has been resolved and everyone has been paid, and that if there are those that you are aware of, we'd be more than happy to follow up. And I think we actually have, between the Post Bank team and the SASSA team, been following up with your colleague to say, as and when you do encounter something, please bring it to our attention so that we can also check that against our records so that we can find out exactly what is happening. And also just to indicate that the Minister is actually, I think he forgot to say it, so I'll say it. The Minister is actually doing daily briefs to the President on the matter. Every single day, the Minister is, together with both CEOs, actually doing daily briefs to the President to keep the President updated on the situation as it unfolds. We will go for our second round of questions, colleagues. Okay, we have a follow-up. Okay. So we'll start with Kaya, then we'll come with our viewer, and then we'll go to Vanessa.
Just to the Post Bank CEO.
Can you speak a bit up?
Yes, you are. Please proceed.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the Post Bank CEO regarding the KPMG report that you spoke about. Yes, it is public knowledge, the 90 million. What I wanted to know was the change in the switch in the payment to prevent the fraud that happened. Are you confident that such fraudulent double payments or whatever will not happen with the new system that was necessitated by the KPMG report?
Thank you, Kaya. Aviwe?
Thank you. Aviwe again from ANC. No, Minister, I was just mentioning those that are actually watching this moment on ANC.
Okay.
Maybe what do you say to them and others, for example, in the Malaysia post office? I mentioned the post office because in the understanding I have, that's that they access the post bank services through the post office, not necessarily. I would understand that that's how they access the post bank services. But what message would you give them then as government, as they say they haven't received their payments, contrary to what you say now that everything has been sorted, they have received their monies, yet they've been told different things on the ground, Minister?
Thank you, Aviwe. Vanessa?
Vanessa, you spoke sometimes like follow-up questions. This is a follow-up question related to the system testing. What was the size of the sample used when conducting the tests for the new payment system before implementation? That's a question for the Postbank CEO. The next question is for Minister Gungubele. Was the grant payment system change rushed? The second question, are you not concerned about oversight at the Postbank without a board and having only 2 people on top management who have only been appointed for about 2 months? When is the new board for Postbank expected to be appointed? Nonele Nkotana from Engomba FM for Minister Gungubele. The state-owned entity is responsible for handling over 10 million social grants across the country. As we know that social grants are important to the livelihood of the most vulnerable in our community and have experienced an inconvenience during the system glitch. Does the government guarantee that it won't happen again? What criteria are you using in making sure that this doesn't happen again in the future? Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we'll start with the CEO, and then we will then go to the Minister. CEO? Okay.
So I believe there were 3 questions. I hope I haven't. I'm not going to leave any. The first one talking about, I think from News 24, the confidence. What confidence do we have that the new system will not allow fraud? I think perhaps let's understand. I'll take the case that we're talking about, the 89 million. In the investigation of the 89 million, it's not only systems that were involved. There were people that were involved. There's various groups of people that were part of it. What we have done is that with the information that we've gotten from KPMG and the recommendations, we are certainly putting those in place in terms of there have been people, if they were identified inside, that have been suspended. Some of them have been disciplined. We have changed already in terms of how we look at the system, at the switching system, in terms of how we buy integrated systems from one supplier, what risk that is. So there's quite a lot. We have hired cybersecurity capabilities that were not necessarily there before. We have taken some capabilities from different vendors to ensure that there's checks and balances so that one doesn't have through capabilities of our systems. So we've done a lot, but there's still a lot to be done. As we go through it. I hope that answers that. And then the size of the testing, I will not be able to give that number because I know that the technical guys will probably have it, but I don't have it at hand as to exactly. But I can assure you that the different tests that were done, that needed to be done, because there is a program in terms of how you handle any migration, any IT testing. And I just want to emphasize again, because I think we're using this instance as almost a reflection of how the business conducts its work and does its IT changes. The business has done so many high value, big changes since the beginning of the year, even before I joined, because we have a variation notice, and that 70% of that relates to IT capabilities. So the business has done great. I think you haven't had any noise of such relating to those changes. It so happened that on this one we had issues post-migration, and we know what those issues are. They were fixed on day one, and all that we're doing now is just to ensure that anything that was picked related to those issues, we make sure that it's in place. And also the planning of the change, as much as the change happened in August, the planning of the change, I think I shared this somewhere, the planning of the change started already in July. So there was almost a month before we actually did the change that there was a planning of the change. And then I think there was a question as to what criteria are we using to make sure that it won't happen again. I think relating to the switch, the criteria that we absolutely use is to always test as to what went wrong. Did we fix it? Do we know do we have assurance that what went wrong was fixed? I think we've provided that because the issue happened on the 5th and the switch has been working as it should from the 7th. And I think that's also something that we need to emphasize. The switch has been working as it should from the 7th already, as the issue happened on the 5th. Even above that, we're just even making sure with other technical capabilities to increase any capacity that relates to how the switch works. I hope I've answered everyone.
Thank you very much. I thought I should repeat something because, with due respect, in my view, I think in terms of our record, NCA is continuing something which I think is not helpful. NCA says, as we conduct this briefing, Minister Lindiwe Zulu, a no-show in the press briefing. I mean, I don't know how do you guys expect us to react to that, because as we talk now, she's on air. What does ANC... at the risk of concluding that NCA is pushing a political agenda, not a media communication agenda. Because what do you want to achieve when we say to you as a matter of fact, the minister is in transit? You guys know, Minister Lindiwe Zulu never ran away from any press briefing. Now here on record, we can show you. NCA, as we speak now, says Lindiwe Zulu, a no-show. No, we'll come to that. Allow me to address, and this is record, we're not even fabricating this. Secondly, the least NCA can help us, as they continue now to say hundreds of people, however. Please, we read the numbers. WhatsApp, toll-free numbers, and everything. You must know, no matter how dedicated we are, we cannot be everywhere at all material times. But our people, they've got cell phones, they've got radios, they've got whatever. And the fact that NCA is able to know where they are, we are asking you as media people to give them these numbers. You have given us 2 names. But NCA continues again. In mathematics, they call it solving for X, variable or something like that, solution for X. Every time we say we are able to calculate, give us the facts, we will solve for X. They just throw an X in the space, and they are not actually assisting. And I'm saying, please, NCA, we want to work with you. We want to work with you in resolving the problems of our people. I want to repeat this, unless you actually forcing us to conclude that NCA is not about resolving the problem that we're confronted. By the way, it's our people who are affected by this thing, because you are beginning to force us to think as who is NCA, right? ENCA. We don't want to get there. You know, I don't fight with media, no matter what they say about me, because I respect you guys. You are there for that job. But if this institution treats us like this, it's a problem. It's not helping the people who are suffering. Let us say the system is failing. Let's say that. How is NCA on a daily basis assisting them if they don't give them the numbers that we're giving NCA? If they don't call us and say, at a particular post office, our people are going to go, by the way. I just want to tell you now, Dick, and so on. If the NCA can say, in a particular post office, at a particular at this time, in almost every area we've got branches, we are going to send people to resolve that. But if we say everywhere, hundreds, please, we want to respect NCA as an independent media. Please help us think like that. Attack us, criticize us, we'll never fight with you. You can check my track record. I don't fight with media. I don't have time for that. But now we're dealing with a matter which is affecting vulnerable people. Please, guys, sisters, I repeat, Lindiwe Zulu, a no-show. Surely, that's unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. And the other thing, by the way, I think I must say this, CEO, Lindiwe Zulu is not administering these, what to call, these payments. It's my department and its entities that is dealing with this. And I'm prepared to take the flag for that. And I've watched her being attacked on several bases, on something we in my department are supposed to take what to call flag for. And what has she done? Why are we doing this to her? What's the problem? Is it about resolving this matter or targeting her? I thought I must make that point, because this to me is totally unacceptable. So having said that, to the people of who you spoke about, the least we can say is again repeating the numbers that we read. I hope I can catch them quickly for the sake of your insistence, which I think I still want to assume is of genuine concern. Where is this? Where are these numbers? Praise what? Yes. Where are they? Yes. We said SASSA. We said for bank accounts, queries related to SASSA, gold cards, clients can contact Postbank on 0800535455. WhatsApp 0738061631. Right? We are saying to NCA, you are available. Chase us everywhere. I repeat, we've got branches almost all over the country. Tell us the area. The CEO are going to make a call and make sure that people check who those people are. Right? We'll do everything we want to help our people. But this approach is not going to resolve this thing. So that's the list for now of we can do. And if we can be told before we leave here, which areas, and as we leave here, there will be agents who will be sent to those areas where our people are, because we are committed. Some of us, by the way, the only thing we have lived for we have lived for our people. We can tell you stories about how we got where we are for our people. So we cannot just abandon them now overnight. So my appeal, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm fine. But my appeal, please help us, guys. I know, unfortunately, you are the one from, we're not saying it's you who's doing this thing. Unfortunately, you are from ANC. It's okay. Or if you have answers, Nungaba will deal with that. It's fine. The other issue was... The message to the politicians? Oh, no, I think I've tried to do that. And Ngobo, maybe I thought it was important to use Ngobo call to say, if I heard them properly, to say, out of almost 18 social grant beneficiaries, 18 million, Postbank is dealing with almost 1/3 of that. It's important to also know that. 1/3 of that. So we're answering for that 1/3 here, as far as Postbank is concerned. But as government, it doesn't matter where else it's happening. We are always responsible, even if it's not, whether it's not in the post office, it's not in the post bank, we share the concern with SASSA about ensuring that our people are in a better place. Yes, the very important point I nearly forgot from Usinesipo. She says, was this thing not rushed? The moving from one system to other. I hope you have answered that. Thank you. If you have dealt with that, it's okay. Now the question is, how is the oversight going to take place? Last week I said, on that day, an advert will be issued. We said to you, we are appointing an administrator whose track record in South Africa you can't question. Part of the turning around of SARS, part of the turning around of Uhuleni, part of a DG of Mpumalanga with an impeccable record, Mr. Kale Tungem, is going to administer. I don't think it will go beyond 2 months, by the way. We said we're going to issue adverts that day. We did. on the same day. Some of you must have watched your media, you must have seen it. Because we mean business about making sure that this institution is under capable hands. Because this is a financial institution. Not that any other institution deserves this other issue. So I'm trying to reassure Sinesipho about how the oversight is going to be done. Already the CEO who has come in hardly 8 weeks has demonstrated her capability. Combination with the administrator and the adverts that are actually out, and the department, we've got what we call in our department an oversight, a state entity oversight unit. It's going to be working with all of them. So it's not like the Post Bank is left in the open field. So I'm trying to reassure the question that has been raised by Sir Aviwe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. We will take one last round if there are any burning questions that have not been responded to. I do have a question that you want to respond to the Minister. Okay. All right. Wait. Are there any other burning issues, colleagues? Okay. All right. No, that's fine. Aviwe?
Oh, thank you. Minister, I just think it's a bit unfair to suggest that ENCA has an agenda when, for example, this morning we are at these areas where these people are inside. For example, I mentioned the Lenasia post office where they're told that Imali can leave. And, for example, the ones that are in Cape Town are with the team, in Cape Town, where they say they've either been paid half of their money or haven't received any. And I think as a media company, it's only our responsibility to ask those questions and not to just take on face value what you'll be telling us as government. You mentioned that call out ENCA around Minister Lindiwe Zulu saying that she's a no-show. As much as you may have explained it, but it's the reality that she isn't here now. She might be traveling, which is a...
Okay, okay, let's allow him to finish. Let's allow him to finish.
But factually, if we are to speak fact, the minister is not here. It's a crisis, of course, that's engulfing a lot of people. We'd expect that the minister be here. Not that it's part of any malice or anything. We're just reporting on what's happening here, Minister. So I think it's a bit unfair to say that we've got an agenda politically or otherwise, when our duty as journalists is to report what's happening on the ground, and we give you what's been happening today. And yeah, I think it's just a bit unfair, Minister.
All right. No. Thank you, Aviwe. I think firstly, the minister firstly reiterated that as government, we are committed to working with the media, which is why we appreciate the fact that every time we have a message to communicate, you do come and you do provide that platform for us. I think at the beginning of the media briefing, we did state that Minister Zulu is not here, and we stated the reasons as to why she's not here. When the minister also spoke, the minister stated she's not here and also stated the reasons why she's not here. A no-show, I don't want us to get into semantics of what English means. A no-show means when someone does not pitch and there's no explanation for their absence. And I think that is not what happened today, but we also don't want that to be what becomes, the big story out of our media briefing. As far as we are concerned, we came to give an update on how far or how we've resolved the matter. Members of the media, like yourselves, are saying that actually there are people that are still in queues, and we've said we would like the details of those people. We've even stated that the teams of SASSA and the teams of Postbank will be going out into the communities at the various post offices, particularly the two that you've mentioned, the two areas that you've mentioned in Lenasia as well as Botterville. We already have people following up on that, and we do appreciate you giving us that kind of information. And just to reiterate, I think that's the kind of relationship that we want to have. We want to have a relationship where if there is a problem that you do pick up, it does, get to us as well, so that we can ultimately resolve the question or resolve the matter and not have a situation whereby we are speaking past each other. I think more than anything, that's the crux of what we wanted to communicate, and we want to continue working with colleagues in the media, ENCA, Newsroom, News 24. We appreciate the relationship that we're building, and we also understand the importance of the fourth estate within a democratic society, and that's why we'll continue engaging each other. And I think that brings us to the end of our media briefing. Thank you very much, colleagues, and thank you very much, colleagues. And as we did say, that we are more than happy. We've issued the various contact details, toll-free numbers, and we'll definitely follow up on those 2 sites that you have brought to our attention. And if there are any, please feel free to do so. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you.
No, we can speak together. Let's go.